Imagine walking through a city built for millions of people. But there's no one there. Towering skyscrapers stand silent. Luxury shopping malls echo with emptiness. Streets, highways, and train stations, completely deserted. These are not ruins from a forgotten past. They are modern cities, brand new, meticulously designed, and yet abandoned. Welcome to China's ghost cities. Hidden deep within the world's most populous nation are sprawling megastructures. Entire urban landscapes constructed underground and above ground, but eerily void of life. Why would a government build entire cities that nobody lives in? Why sink trillions of dollars into creating monuments of silence? And what secrets are buried beneath these empty towers? Tonight, we expose the hidden truth behind China's ghost cities. From the economic illusions that fueled their rise, to the underground megastructures shrouded in secrecy, and the chilling warnings from scientists and economists who believe these phantom cities may hold the key to China's future, and perhaps the world's. This is not just a story of empty buildings. It's a story of ambition, secrecy, and survival. Welcome to The Secret Exposed, China's underground ghost cities. To understand China's ghost cities, we need to go back to the early 2000s. At the dawn of the new century, China was transforming at lightning speed. Rural farmland gave way to high-speed railways, megacities, and futuristic skylines. For the first time in history, hundreds of millions of people were moving from the countryside into the cities. The government had a vision: modernize the nation, and in the process, lift millions out of poverty. Urbanization was the key. But behind this vision was something more, an economic strategy unlike any other. Local governments were judged on growth. And growth, in China, was measured not just by productivity, but by construction. Building cities, even if nobody lived in them, was a guaranteed way to boost GDP on paper. So, vast sums of money flowed into real estate. Developers raced to construct entire metropolises in record time. Highways, stadiums, airports, and business districts rose out of empty land. And yet, when the buildings were finished, something strange happened. No one moved in. Towering residential blocks remained vacant. Shiny new shopping malls never opened their doors. Entire streets were built, but never walked. These places were not ghost towns from decline. They were ghost cities from birth, born empty and staying empty. Economists began to sound the alarm. Was this a miracle of foresight? Cities built in preparation for the future? Or was it a dangerous illusion, an economic bubble waiting to burst? Whatever the truth, the scale was undeniable. From Ordos in Inner Mongolia to Zhengzhou in Henan province, and even replicas of European capitals like Tiandusheng, China's landscape was dotted with phantom metropolises. And these were not just above ground. Beneath the surface, deep underground networks of tunnels, shopping centers, and transit hubs were being constructed in silence. Hidden megastructures that raised even more questions. The rise of these phantom cities was only the beginning, because what lay underground would reveal an even darker secret. Above the surface, China's ghost cities may look like failed real estate dreams. But hidden below the streets lies another layer of mystery. Beneath the skyscrapers and empty boulevards are sprawling underground networks, vast megastructures that few outsiders ever see. Subterranean shopping malls stretching for miles. Labyrinths of unfinished subway lines and abandoned stations. Gigantic parking garages built for thousands of cars that never arrive. Some of these structures were designed as part of the city of the future vision. Underground malls and transit systems were meant to connect the population that, one day, would fill these empty towers. But when the residents never came, these underground complexes became silent voids, concrete caverns that echo with emptiness. And not all of them were for civilian life. Hidden among these subterranean projects are rumors of something far more secretive. Military bunkers designed for rapid deployment. Emergency shelters for millions of people. Entire command centers built deep below the earth. In cities like Beijing, Chongqing, and Lebanon, reports have surfaced of underground defense networks stretching for hundreds of miles. Some date back to the Cold War, designed as nuclear shelters, now quietly expanded and hidden beneath ghost cities. Scientists and urban explorers who have investigated these areas speak of the eerie feeling of walking through endless, deserted tunnels, perfectly lit, perfectly maintained, but utterly devoid of human presence. Why would China invest billions in underground megastructures that no one uses? The official explanation: urban planning for the future. The unofficial theory: preparation for something far more dangerous. Whether civilian or military, these hidden megastructures raise one chilling question. Were these ghost cities built as an economic illusion, or as secret fortresses for a future crisis? To understand why China built ghost cities, we need to look at the engine driving its economy. For decades, China's growth was measured in a single number: gross domestic product, or GDP. The higher the GDP, the stronger the appearance of progress. And in China, one of the fastest ways to grow GDP was to build. Local governments borrowed billions to fund massive development projects. Construction meant jobs. Construction meant revenue. And on paper, construction meant growth. But growth on paper doesn't always mean growth in reality. Developers were rewarded not for filling cities with people, but for pouring concrete and erecting towers. Entire districts were built, not to house families, but to keep the economic machine moving. Investors, both foreign and domestic, poured money into real estate, believing that if you build, the people will come. But in many places, the people never did. Apartments priced far beyond what the average citizen could afford sat empty. Glittering malls remained locked behind glass doors. Schools and hospitals built for thousands of residents stood silent. Ordos, in Inner Mongolia, became the most famous example. A city with the capacity for over 1 million residents, but barely a fraction of that population ever arrived. The media called it the world's largest ghost city. Yet Ordos was not alone. Across China, dozens of similar projects appeared. Jiangdong New District in Henan Province. Tiandusheng, a replica of Paris complete with its own Eiffel Tower, and the massive Ujiapu Financial District, once called China's Manhattan, now eerily deserted. On the surface, these cities represented ambition, proof that China was ready to rival the great urban centers of the world. But underneath, they revealed a harsher truth: an economy built on debt, speculation, and illusions of prosperity. Some economists called them ticking time bombs. Others claimed they were investments for a future population surge. The question remained: were ghost cities signs of a nation preparing for tomorrow, or warnings of an economic bubble about to burst? And as we dig deeper, we begin to uncover an unsettling possibility: that ghost cities were never just about housing, but about something far more strategic, hidden beneath the surface. Imagine waking up in a brand new apartment tower, and being one of only a handful of families living inside. You look out your window at endless rows of identical buildings, perfect, polished, and silent. Streets wide enough for parades remain empty, lined with unopened shops. At night, only a few lights flicker across a skyline designed for millions. This is daily life for the few who chose to move into China's ghost cities. Some residents were relocated here by government programs, promised a better future. Others were investors, purchasing property as an asset, but rarely living in it. For those who actually stayed, reality feels strange, almost surreal. Grocery stores are scarce. Schools, if they exist at all, operate at a fraction of their intended size. Hospitals remain underused, and local businesses struggle to survive with no customers. Walking through the city feels like stepping onto a movie set, the backdrop of a bustling metropolis, but no actors to fill the stage. Children ride bicycles down 6-lane boulevards with no traffic. Elderly couples sit on empty park benches, surrounded by silence. A single bus passes through a district built for thousands, carrying only a handful of passengers. For some, the emptiness feels liberating. Wide open spaces, no crowds, no pollution. But for most, it feels unsettling. A constant reminder that something isn't right. It's like living in a dream that no one else believes in, one resident confessed. Ghost cities were designed as symbols of modern life. Instead, they became monuments of isolation. And for the few people still there, the question lingers every day. Will these cities ever come alive? Or will they remain vast, silent shells, reminders of promises never kept? To many outsiders, China's ghost cities look like colossal failures, proof of reckless spending and misguided planning. But inside China, the government tells a different story. Officials insist that ghost cities are not abandoned. They are waiting for the future. The logic is simple. China's population is massive and still shifting from rural villages into urban centers. As millions continue to migrate, the empty towers will eventually fill. In other words, these cities are built in advance. But not everyone is convinced this is the whole truth. Some analysts argue that the strategy goes beyond housing. Ghost cities may function as economic engines, designed to keep construction workers employed, developers funded, and local governments flush with revenue. Others believe these cities serve as strategic reserves, places that can be activated in times of crisis. Imagine a sudden population surge, a mass relocation, or even a natural disaster. Entire empty districts could absorb millions overnight. There are also whispers of something deeper, that beneath certain ghost cities lie fortified infrastructures, bunkers, command centers, and hidden transit systems, waiting to be used in emergencies. For the government, ghost cities are not failures. They are investments in the future, even if the payoff may take decades or remain hidden from public view. But for ordinary citizens, the strategy raises troubling questions. Should a nation spend trillions building empty towers, while millions still struggle with affordable housing? Should entire landscapes be designed for people who may never come? And most of all, what if these cities are not waiting for residents, but for something else? Something the government isn't ready to reveal. Beneath the empty streets and silent towers of China's ghost cities lies a secret few dare to speak about. Vast underground chambers, endless networks of tunnels, facilities built with no clear explanation. Officially, these subterranean complexes are described as infrastructure, subway stations for the future, parking garages, shopping malls, and storm shelters. But some believe they serve a far more hidden purpose. Since the Cold War, China has quietly invested in underground fortifications. In the 1960s, Chairman Mao ordered the construction of vast bomb shelters beneath Beijing, preparing for nuclear war. Known as the Underground City, this labyrinth could house hundreds of thousands of people. Decades later, reports suggest these ideas have not only continued, but expanded. In ghost cities, beneath half-empty residential towers, researchers and journalists have uncovered hints of massive underground facilities. Sealed entrances, unexplained ventilation shafts, and tunnels that stretch far beyond what public blueprints reveal. Some urban explorers describe walking through endless corridors, perfectly lit, perfectly built, but without a single person inside. Others claim entire sections are off-limits, guarded, or erased from official maps. Could these ghost cities be dual-purpose projects, cities above for show, and secret fortresses below for survival? Military analysts point out that China's government has the resources and the motivation to build hidden command centers, supply depots, and secure shelters, all beneath the cover of urban development. If true, these underground megastructures are not mistakes. They are weapons of silence, invisible until the day they are needed. Which raises the question, are China's ghost cities simply empty real estate, or are they shadows of a much larger strategy hidden beneath our feet? For years, China's ghost cities were treated as curiosities, strange monuments of empty ambition. But as the years passed and the towers remained vacant, economists and scientists began sounding the alarm. The problem wasn't just empty apartments. It was debt. Local governments borrowed massive sums to fund these projects. Developers took out loans they could never repay. Banks extended credit on the assumption that property values would always rise. But what happens when the towers remain empty? When the malls never open? When billions of dollars are poured into structures that generate no return? Some economists warn this could be the largest real estate bubble in history, one that, if it bursts, could shake not just China, but the entire global economy. Scientists studying urbanization raise another concern: sustainability. Many ghost cities consume huge amounts of energy and resources just to remain standing, from electricity powering empty streetlights to maintenance of infrastructure no one uses. Urban planners point to a deeper issue: population decline. While cities were built in anticipation of endless growth, China's birth rate has sharply fallen. Some experts fear there will never be enough people to fill these phantom metropolises. They are building for a future that may never come, one analyst remarked. Already, cracks are beginning to show. Developers defaulting on loans. Construction halted mid-project. Families who invested their life savings in apartments they may never live in. What started as symbols of progress are now warnings of fragility. And still, the government insists the strategy is sound. That one day, these cities will come alive. But scientists and economists agree. The longer they remain empty, the greater the risk of collapse, not just of buildings, but of an entire economic system. The question is no longer why ghost cities were built, but how long can they remain empty before the illusion shatters? China's ghost cities may be the most famous, but they are not the only ones. Around the world, ambitious projects have risen, only to fall silent. In Dubai, luxury skyscrapers and artificial islands stand half empty, victims of the global financial crisis. In Africa, vast Chinese-funded developments remain unfinished, their streets empty and overgrown. Even North Korea has its own version, the ghost city of Kijongdong, a propaganda town built to impress outsiders, but never truly inhabited. And yet, none of these compare to the scale of China. While other nations have one or two failed projects, China has dozens, entire regions filled with cities waiting for people who never come. Which leads to the question, is this simply economic overreach, or something more? Some analysts suggest that China's ghost cities could serve as economic shock absorbers, ways to keep construction industries alive during downturns, regardless of demand. Others argue the purpose is geopolitical. Empty cities could act as relocation zones during disasters, population reserves in case of crisis, or even staging grounds for military mobilization. There are also theories of social engineering, creating environments where populations can be shifted, monitored, and controlled under highly planned conditions. The truth is, no one outside the highest levels of government fully knows. But one thing is clear: while other ghost cities around the world are symbols of failure, China's are different. They are deliberate, organized, and built on a scale humanity has never seen before. Which raises the final question: are they monuments to ambition, or signs of something far more secret? Conclusion script: the secret exposed, China's underground ghost cities. Across China, the towers still stand. Empty boulevards stretch for miles. Shopping malls shine with glass and steel, but no footsteps echo inside. Ghost cities, monuments of silence in a nation of 1.4 billion people. We have traced their rise, from economic dreams to harsh realities. We have wandered through the underground labyrinths hidden beneath their streets. We have heard the warnings of scientists and economists, and seen the comparisons around the globe. And yet, the truth remains elusive. Are these cities simply mistakes, a byproduct of unchecked ambition and economic illusion? Or are they deliberate, a grand strategy, preparing for a future crisis the world has not yet seen? To some, they are failures. To others, they are insurance policies. To a few, they may even be fortresses, waiting for the day when silence will give way to survival. But one fact is undeniable. Never before in human history has a nation built so many cities without people. And as the lights flicker on each night, across towers with no residents and streets with no traffic, the world is left with a haunting question. What secret do China's ghost cities truly hold? Until the day they are filled or revealed, they remain one of the greatest urban mysteries of our time. This is The Secret Exposed.